What is the purpose of intimacy? Why did God create this? Clearly He did. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the things necessary to do that act. It was His idea. What was the purpose? Number one, procreation. God wants us to make little image bearers, to populate the earth for His pleasure, so that He can see more image bearers come to Christ and be glorified. So procreation is one reason for intimacy. Reason number two, pleasure. It's an enjoyable act, and God gave that to us. It is His kind gift. And so there should be nothing wrong with a husband and wife having that particular act and enjoying it. It's okay. Perhaps you grew up in a home where intimacy was like, oh, no, we don't even think about that or talk about this. Now, of course, we don't want to be salacious about it, but Christians, mature Christians, should talk about it as something that young people can absolutely look forward to, so that on the night that they are married, they don't have to feel ashamed for something that God created to be pleasurable. Reason number three, picture. It is a picture of many things, actually. If you take a look at 1 Corinthians 6, 16 and 17, Paul is describing a man who joins himself to a harlot, and in verse 17, he talks about us being one spirit with God. What is the act of intimacy? It's showing oneness. In other words, it's showing us a picture of our relationship with our God. Picture number two, it is also a picture of the gospel. Ephesians chapter 5, the man plays the role of Jesus, the woman plays the role of the church, and when they are loving each other and serving each other in this very intimate act, it is a picture of our union with Christ. It is a picture of the gospel. Picture number three, the act of intimacy, it's a picture of heaven in a non-sexual way. The enjoyments and pleasures of heaven will so supersede the lesser act of intimacy, but that is the act that probably comes closest to helping us to understand how amazing it is going to be when we are in heaven with our glorified bodies, in union with our God in a non-sexual way. The lesser helps us understand the greater. All of those reasons demonstrate how profound intimacy is and why we should be teaching our kids about this act in a we don't want to be talking about this. Really, there's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about. That's you're feeling the residue of the fall because of that. But we also want to teach them about these things to give them a lofty, higher, more profound view of sex. Why? Well, reason number one, so they understand it when they are married and it can actually do that. But reason number two, it will help the young person and you and me to not do anything to join our bodies with a harlot. What are we doing when we do that in any form, including pornography? You can join yourself to pixels. We are trashing the picture that God has created intimacy to be. We are marring what it is supposed to be pointing toward. We make a hash of lofty, eternal, great things when we do such a lowly act as joining our bodies with a harlot. In other words, not our spouses. Maybe, just maybe now, you can understand while perhaps you or somebody you know feels so rotten after they do that deed. After watching pornography, I don't think there's any man who goes, that was such a great idea. You know what? I'm going to feel better for the rest of the day. There's something shameful about it. Why is it so profound Why does 1 Corinthians 6:16 say no sin so affects the body like the sin of intimacy with somebody who is not your covenant partner? Answer: it abuses the whole idea of procreation, which is the purpose of intimacy. It lowers the idea of pleasure because we're not doing it the way that God told us to do it. And it breaks, shatters, crashes the picture that it is supposed to paint for us.